It's Crew, and this is episode 2 of Story Time with Mr. X. Today, today's story goes back to 2015. I was 15 years old. A few months after my 15th birthday comes past, and I start my second year of middle school. And there was some precautions that I had to change, and there were some things I had to take care of that day. Oh, sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Anyway, back to the story. So I was on the way to school, la di da. I was talking to my girlfriend Jessica. I was talking to my girl Jessica Flint at that time. So, so we was talking about One Direction. We was talking about our future. I asked her. I said, "Hey, do you see a future in one of us?" And she said, "Of course." But she doesn't want to rush anything. I'm like, "You don't want to rush it." What? But anyway, that was just a side note. But we got to school. I put all my stuff in my locker. I got to my desk, ate my breakfast, and one of the teachers was like, "Hey, Mr. Jones, how's it going?" I'm like, "You relax, it's going fine, okay? No need to get hesitant." And it was funny because it had me thinking. I'm like, I wonder what the next thing they gonna say next. I wonder what the next thing they might gonna say, because I have no idea. Me being 15 was actually kind of fun. Actually, it was kind of fun. I want to say I enjoyed it. Half of me enjoyed it, and the other half didn't. And what did I want? I don't know. What did I want to do at the time, man? I was like thinking about my own future. Like, oh, in 5 years I'll be 20 years old. In 10 years I'll be 25 years old. But look where we are. I want to say a couple years later, when I turned 16, it was a rainy day. The day was like so rainy. On my 16th birthday. It was a rainy day. Uh, at the time, I was living in Clio for almost 5 to 6 years. Um, I miss that neighborhood. But anyway, it was a rainy day. I didn't get much. All I got was a pair of black Levi's. Like one pair of black Levi's. If y'all ask me now in the chat, if y'all say a comment that say, "Oh, can you still wear those now?" I'm like, my answer is no. No, I can't. I mean, I'm 6'2". Okay, uh, mostly all the clothes I used to have, I can't even squeeze into like I used to back in 2009. But that would be episode 3 for next time's episode. This is episode 2. This is episode 2, season 1. Okay, so I hope you guys keeping track of this series, and I hope y'all like this series. And if y'all do, let me know in the comment if y'all like this series, and I'll keep the series going. But anyway, back to the story. So we was outside. I was playing basketball with my homies. I had a set of good friends. There was only 3 of us. It was 3 of us. It was me, Derek, and Brandon. Those three are my 3 amigos, my 2 amigos, man. But I went up north more than one year, almost every single year. I went up north couple times. I wasn't supposed to the first. I wasn't supposed to in the first time, but I did. Someone decided to pull some strings for me, and I took their spot for him. Little scumbag thought he was gonna. That little y'all thought Mr. X wasn't going, but he did. He showed up. He showed up right there on that at the campus. And I was showing out, y'all. I was going nuts. I was going crazy up there. Straight up going insane. I was going bananas. Yes, bananas. You heard me. You heard me right. I was going bananas, but that didn't stop me from having a good time. But that didn't stop me having a good time. I felt like I wanted to get a drink or something. I was at that point where I wanted to get a drink. I was gonna get. I don't know what I was gonna do, man. I don't know what I was thinking of doing, or whatever I thought I was doing, but I almost did. But yeah, I didn't do that though. No. I expected more from myself at that up there of Mount Pleasant. I expected more, a lot more, 10 times more than normal. But it wasn't like I was at a casino or nothing. I was at a freaking college campus for the next 2 days. I mean, who wants to go there for 3 days, huh? Who wants to go all the an hour and a half? An hour and a half for 3 days. And you spend the next 2 days up there like you're on, what is it? The Bachelor, what is this? Total Drama Island? Come on now. Come on. Total Drama Island was a pretty dope cartoon. If y'all haven't seen Total Drama Island, I don't know y'all. Well, maybe some of y'all have. Maybe some of y'all didn't. Some of y'all was living in the 2000 era like me, where the best cartoons were living. But now that those cartoons like that are dead and gone, like Time Squad. Shows like Time Squad, Johnny Bravo, which just came out in 1997. Johnny Bravo was a pretty good show. Johnny Bravo was pretending to be something that he was not. Instead, he wanted to be like Elvis Presley, with his smug looks and his black shirts and his he's like he's in the 50s. Okay, he's like he's freaking in 1955 joining the mafia. But it was all in great fun because all he wanted to do was score a shot at a girl that he wanted. He was a player. Johnny Bravo was a player, y'all. Johnny Bravo from Cartoon Network was a player, and Cartoon Network had some pretty good bumpers. If you don't know what bumpers are from Cartoon Network, there was something that was a thing that Cartoon Network had from 2004 to 2000, and I want to say till today. Today's Cartoon Network is horrible. I'm a little bit disappointed. I'm a little disappointed in today's Cartoon Network. What happened to the old cartoons that we used to love to watch and adore and wish we could see again in the future? But shows like Dexter's Laboratory, Samurai Jack, Cow and Chicken, the Moxie Show, which just came out in 1993, but that died, I want to say 3 years later, in 1996. But I don't know. I don't know where those shows went, but those shows went into dust. And the only time you can see that is just go on YouTube and search up Cartoon Network shows from the 2000s, and it'll show you every single cartoon on there. Such as Boomerang. Boomerang was a partner to Cartoon Network. Boomerang is basically a retirement home from old cartoons from Cartoon Network that was made by the homie Ted Turner. Let that sink in. Ted Turner is the father of Cartoon Network. He is the man who made Cartoon Network to what it is today. Today, we got shows like Craig of the Creek, The Maze World of Gumball, Apple and Onion, uh, 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 we don't have Samurai Jack. We don't have Samurai Jack on there. That show has not been on there in like 9 years, y'all. 9. 9 years. That goes back to 2012. That's basically 2012 right there. Time Squad was in 2001. Um, I never seen the Moxie show because I was not born in the 90s. Okay, I wasn't born in the 90s. Even if I was born in the 90s, I would have grew up watching shows like Powerpuff Girls. Well, actually, I kind of was because they made some episodes in the 2000s, so I was grateful for that. But shortly after that, Powerpuff Girls came back in 2016. I was pretty disappointed in that bull crap. Did y'all know that? Did y'all know that the Cartoon Network brought back that show a few decades later in 2016? That was when oh, that was when this came out. That was when this came out in 2016 of the fall. Okay? Now, the show is dead now. So is shows like Ninjago and Johnny Test and Johnny Test was a decent cartoon. Johnny Test had some pretty good ratings. Um, it was a funny cartoon though. You know, it was just a flaming boy who wanted to be something that he wished he could be or wanted to be. You know, he had a lot of energy. You know, he had so much, but only could go so far. Only could go so far. Now, Hanna-Barbera was supposed to come back, but that didn't happen. That didn't happen. That was a lie. Whoever told me that there was it was supposed to come back this year. I'm not really sure when, but Nickelodeon, Nickelodeon has nothing left. No more new cartoons. They haven't made a cartoon since the Thundermans came out. Victorious on Teen Nick. The show sucks. Okay, the show's terrible. It's trash. And so is Zoe 101. That show is horrible too. Okay, whoever in here used to watch Teen Nick back in the early 2000s when Drake and Josh was out, when Drake and Josh and Nesty Class of School, or whatever the freaking show is, Drake and Josh was better than all of them, especially better than iCarly. That's for sure. Okay, I don't want to hear nobody saying in the chat that Mr. X was wrong, and Mr. X is wrong about Victorious and iCarly. Okay, I don't want to hear that the next time I come back on another video, because if I do, I'll be watching. I'll be listen. I'll be watching your. I watch what you say on my channel. All right, Mr. X watches your comments. I sees your comments. All right, I sees all y'all comments. So that means y'all can't tell me that I'm wrong about about a show that's horrible in the early 2000s. All right. All right. Now moving on. Nicktoons. How many Nicktoons fans we got up in here in the Mr. X community? Huh? How many? Not a lot. Me on the other hand, I grew up watching the show. I grew up watching shows like El Tigre, um, Fairly Odd Parents. Um, what else was popping on Nicktoons? There was a few shows that I remember from back in the day. You know, there's so many. It was Avatar the Airbender. That show was terrible. I don't know why I picked that on my list. That show was kind of bad, right? Who wants to sit and watch a bunch of anime? Huh? Nobody. Not me. I'm for me don't like anime. And yes, I do watch Dragon Ball Z. And yes, that does count as anime, but That is the only anime show that I ever will watch in English. I don't care about none of that gibberish that they don't even speak. All right, I don't understand it. I don't know why they decided to do that. The people at Crunchyroll is not. They have the worst cartoons of all time. Okay, their cartoons are trash. Toonami, Toonami was hot. Every night, every night at midnight. I used to get up when I was a kid. I used to watch some of the best shows on Adult Swim. I grew up watching Adult Swim. Even though if I wasn't supposed to, I watched it anyway. I watched shows like Family Guy, American Dad, Cleveland Show. Well, not anymore because that show sucks. Thanks to the writers of that show, Family Guy and American Dad. That show is pretty fun. That show takes me to different adventures that I never been to, and it's just a work of art. You know, the show American Dad and Family Guy both remind me of a 1970 Chevelle SS LS4 or LS3 427 Big Block. That's kind of what it reminds me of. But we're not here. We're not this video. We're not talking about cars today. We're talking about cartoons. All right. So all you gearheads, for those who like cars in the chat, we're not talking about that today. We're giving the four wheels and junks of metal a break. Alright? I know I said that's what I was going to talk about when I started the channel. But I only talk about that on certain occasions. Like my birthday, for once. Will be in 2 months. In 67 days. Alright. Cartoon Network also had a little thing called Cartoon Fridays back in the early 2000s. I want to say back in 2005 or something like that. But yeah, Cartoon Fridays. Every Friday they had to pick a cartoon that would be able to be on their actual schedule. You know, Ted Turner said that he wanted to have a network that can have cartoons for 24 hours a day. And he made it possible. He made that possible. And he also, you know what else he made possible? CNN. He even invented CNN, TNT. He he owns. He started out. All right, yeah, he started out with Hanna-Barbera I want to say back in the 30s. He started back in 1937. He started working on Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry was a smash hit. It was a big, big, big celebration for Mr. Turner when he was alive, and he was just a freak of nature when it comes to cartoons. Shows like Wacky Racers, What's New Scooby Doo, Scooby Doo from 1970, um, Tom and Jerry, Huckleberry, Huckleberry Hound Road, Roadhound, that blue dog that used to be on the show. There was a documentary on how they made Regular Show by JG and the other dude that had made him. There was one guy who played Mordecai. There was a guy who played Rigby, aka Rigbone, aka One Cheek Wonder. If you've seen that episode, that was back in season 1 or season 2. And then they made a movie about Regular Show back in 2017. And then they kicked it off when they started the series when they went to space. I thought that was pretty cool, because if you go to space and live up there for a very, very somewhat part of time, you rock. If you live in space, you're basically an important person. And to that, I bless you on that. If you do that, you might just, I don't know. But They actually did that. The people who came up with regular show decided to make a movie. You know, they wanted to make a movie, so they did. It was a pretty good movie. It was about Mordecai and Rigby in space. You know, they're all got spaceships and going in through time. They're going through time, and then Rigby gets old, and he goes to his old past, and then he meets him. He meets himself when he was younger, always slacking off, playing video games, and all kinds of stuff. And then Benson comes out and say, "Why is this ship on my lawn?" And then nobody knows why. Nobody knows. Matter of fact, I didn't even know, and I was just at home watching the movie. You know, it was a pretty dope movie. I was over here scratching my head. I'm like, this movie is interesting. I figured if they could make another movie for 2020, they only made one movie. The Amazing World of Gumball. That show was pretty cool. Let me tell you a little more. Let me tell you about that show. So, The Amazing World of Gumball first came out in 2012 from Mick Greaves. Mick Greaves thought that Cartoon Network could need another approach. So, Mick Greaves decided to have some writers, a director, a producer, a couple actors. You know, Gumball Watterson had to go through a couple changes for each season, from season one all the way through season six. Everybody had to get a change except Richard Watterson, aka the dummy, aka the jobless retard, aka the idiot. Anais, she that's Gumball's sister. Darwin Watterson, he's a fucking fish, alright? He's a flipping